You're listening to Live Wild Radio, the part-time adventure podcast.
Join us as we explore how outdoor adventures build mind, body, and spirit.
Welcome back to Live Wild Radio. We've had an inadvertent hiatus. That's what they call, like, you know, when the TV show is off for air for a while and then comes back. The time it was off was the hiatus. Ours was inadvertent. Nothing bad, but life just got in the way. You know, I think it was a combination of you and I rejoining a commercial gym. Mm-hmm. So 4 or 5 mornings a week we're in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Jiu-jitsu at night.
Yep, jiu-jitsu at night. And then just life.
Too many concerts.
Yep. Because, you know, for anybody who's been a long-time listener, we know all about Catherine's knee and, you know, her stage 4 osteoarthritis in her right knee to the point where it is a ongoing drinking game. Every time it's mentioned, you have to take a shot. And, you know, one of the things we've run into because of her knee, we haven't been able to do sort of like some of our mountain climbing kind of trips.
Yeah.
So this year, our big thing was music.
Right.
And we saw Hootie and the Blowfish.
Right. Amanda Marshall and
Colin James. Pink, twice. Green Day. Twice. And then we flew down to a fun little town in Texas called Austin, the state capital of Texas.
Yeah.
And we went to a fun little place get-together called Austin City Limits.
It was awesome.
Yes. Music festival, 3 days.
We saw Chris Stapleton.
Yep.
Nora Jones. Teddy Swims.
Leon Bridges.
Chappell Roan.
Benson Boone.
That's who we saw.
And we saw Dua Lipa from a mile away.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then we decided to go home.
Yeah.
You know, before.
Yeah. But it was amazing.
Yes. And it really, like,
it was my first musical festival.
You know, like, and I've gone to a ton of music festivals over the years. By far the best run one I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. Fresh, like, easy to get to water. It was hot as fuck there. Like
it was like you're walking into an oven every day.
It was 36 Celsius and dry.
Yeah.
So
over 100.
Then porta potties. No real problem.
No problem. You got whatever you needed.
Yep.
Anytime. Food
took
great
10
variety.
minutes.
Yeah.
And that's with the fact that it was insane. I think they sold something like 250,000 or 300,000 tickets.
300,000 for that weekend one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on Sunday when we went, because Sunday we went swimming at Barton Springs.
Yeah.
Which is in the same park.
Yeah.
It's like a spring-fed swimming pool.
It's like a canal.
Yeah.
Man-made canal. It's amazing.
Yeah. You know. So we went swimming and it was nice, and then we walked because we were only planning on seeing one act on Sunday, and that was Chappell Roan of, you know, Pink Pony Club
and Benson Boone.
No, that was Saturday. Sweet.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So we get there and meander our way up. You know, get a good spot.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Oh, our kids are up there. We need to get up there. We're really good at that one.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Our kids are up there. You know, people. Oh, okay. And yes, basically seeing her, like, she got, even though she wasn't like a headliner, she had the biggest turnout of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah. And like there's other stages going, but nobody was at them for her show.
Yeah.
You know, like you can if you look up Chappell Roan Austin City Limits, you can see video. They got drones flying around over top, and it's like, it's insane, especially the way the audience is singing.
Oh yeah.
You know, so that was one of those fun cultural experiences.
Sure was.
You know. But yes, we are back to recording our episodes. And it's actually kind of good because anytime you're creating something, after a while, sometimes your ideas dry up, right?
But this topic tonight we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
we think it will benefit a lot of people, and it's all about, you know, keeping up with your training while you're traveling.
Yep. So whether it's vacationing or traveling for business like you often do,
Yeah.
how to not fall behind dramatically, right? And, you know, some of it can be simple. Like, you know, when we go to Mexico, we go for a resort for a week. I hit the gym every day. And so my first thing in the morning is get up, hit gym, get a pump, get about 6,000 steps in to get to the gym and back. And then the rest of the day is kind of, you know, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But by getting the strength training in, you know, getting a pump, enjoying, you know, sort of the calorie burn and boosting of the metabolism you get from, you know, working your muscles good and hard. Then when you are, you know, going for breakfast, you're not overeating. You know, because if I've just worked out,
That's true.
I'm not starving.
No.
You know,
And probably were drinking quite a bit of water.
Yeah.
Or hopefully you were anyways. Yeah.
You know, so that when we're on that kind of vacation, works pretty well. When we went to Austin, I just planned it as a deload week. Right? We could have gone to gyms there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but we figured we were going to get an ass load of walking in, which we did.
Yeah.
You know, we were down there for 6 days, so 3 days of the festival and 3 days of enjoying Austin.
Yeah.
Anybody goes down, go to the Mothership Comedy Store or Comedy Club.
Yeah.
It's the comedy club that Joe Rogan owns. It kicks ass.
It was really well
Yeah.
set up, and from the audio to, you know, your seating and your views, and
Yeah, there's no bad seats in the whole.
Yeah, it was
theater.
great. Yeah, and actually, quite honestly, that whole strip, there's great comedy going on.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive.
Like on 6th Street.
And there, you know, that was free admission. Now, mind you, it was it was a weeknight.
The Rogan was not.
No, I'm talking about other
Yeah,
comedy on
like
that.
yeah, because we the night before went to Maggie Mae's across the street.
Yeah. And they had, I guess, amateur comedy, and it was free, and we gave $20 for 2 drinks, and they gave us a lot of change back. And I kind of wondered, like, what? And I had free refills on my Diet Coke. And I swear the comedy that was going on there
was great.
better than what I pay for in New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
You know, and it was great because we were up front. So I was
God.
the white Mr. T.
Yeah.
You know, got called Chuck Liddell, who's like an MMA fighter. But my favorite was the little you know, sort of nerdy comedian who came up, and it's like, sir, like, you have really thrown me off, because from the back you look like the Viking, and from the front you look like you could beat me at chess.
Yeah. And that was the one trip too that I got bitch slapped, where they basically said
you could be their mom. We could be their parents.
Which is besides the point that could be true.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard somebody say something about my age.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
But
so
it was funny and not funny at the same time.
Yes, it
which
was
very appropriate. It was done at a comedy shop.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, back to I guess the topic. We were just
Yeah.
basically saying, you know, hey, we should really talk about this, and how do you work it in? What are the things? And so I thought what was interesting you were saying earlier is that, you know, it takes, what were you saying? Like,
As far as maintenance goes?
yeah.
So generally speaking, it takes 1/8 the work to maintain your strength and your muscle as it took to build it. So let's say, just to give you an idea, if you were to do, you know, say 12 sets a week for a body part, right? You know, for your chest or shoulders or whatever it is, like 12 sets. Well, if you were to cut that down to 2, you know, they have to be pretty hard sets. Like, you know, you got to push them close to failure. You know, those last reps should be slowing down. It should burn. It should be a struggle, you know, like towards the end. But you're still using good form and all that kind of thing. warm up 2 hard sets. Do that for like a push, a pull, some sort of squat, some sort of hinge.
Yeah.
Do that twice a week. you know, basically you're talking 8 sets for your whole body twice a week. Well, what's that gonna take you, like half an hour twice a week?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it doesn't even have to interfere.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't gain much, but you won't lose anything.
Right.
Right? So that's one of those other ways to look at it, is that your trips, whether it's business trips or vacations, do just the minimum to maintain while you're away, or one of the other things is, like, when we went to Austin, we pretty much planned it as a deload.
Yeah.
So we didn't do any strength training while we were away. And one of the benefits of that, but we'd had 10 weeks uninterrupted before that, because basically when we got back from our rock climbing trip in Kentucky in late July till we went away in October, it was uninterrupted, right? Like, we didn't have any specific time off or anything like that, or at least I didn't,
Yeah.
And so one of the things you run into is, over time, you need to add more volume to your training, right? So if 3 sets per exercise were enough, eventually it's 4, and then it's 5, and then, or per body part, it's gradually building, right? It takes more to keep progressing. But if you take, a bit of time off, like a week off, when you're physically tired from, keep pushing it, your sensitivity to that volume resets. So when you come back, you can start making progress with just 2 sets of each exercise again.
Right.
You don't have to be doing 4, 5, 6, 8,
That's true, because whenever we come back, you always say we don't have to do as much.
Yeah. And then we
Yeah.
just gradually start building again.
Right.
Right. Whereas if you didn't take those breaks, you'd have to keep building, and eventually you just get too tired and workouts take
Right.
too long. So that's another way to...
Yeah, definitely not like cardio, whereas if you take a week off,
You've lost.
you lose.
Yeah.
As much as it's quick to gain, it's quick to lose,
Yeah.
whereas strength training, or your strength, is not easy to lose.
No. Strength is hard to get, but it's sticky. It stays around. Whereas cardio is easy to get and disappears quickly.
Right.
So it comes into a thing where getting a bunch of activity while you're away, is great, right? To keep that, if you get some hikes or bike rides or any of the things, that are fun, you get your heart rate up a
For
little bit.
sure, right? So say you're looking at it from a business perspective, one thing that really was a game changer for me was simply just prioritizing where I stayed was a place that had a gym.
Yep.
Whether it was an Airbnb in a condo or in a hotel, I always looked and made sure they had gyms. And, I actually found that the cost wasn't that much different. It might be the location, but ultimately, if that's what you need, either, to make you feel better or just to maintain your strength, then you should just prioritize it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things, too, you'll run into is needing to adapt your workouts when you go to a hotel gym. Because, obviously, let's say you followed any advice and you've got your kettlebells and pull-up bar
Right.
at home. Well, then when you go to a hotel, the hotel gym's probably going to have dumbbells, might have
Right.
some machines. So you're going to...
Bikes, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to modify what strength exercises you're doing. Instead of doing a goblet squat or a double kettlebell front squat, you might do a squat on the Smith machine, or you might do a leg press. Instead of swings and cleans and snatches, you might do Romanian deadlifts on the Smith machine, or with a barbell, or with a pair of dumbbells, for that hip hinge movement, for your hamstrings and butt.
Yeah.
Instead of a kettlebell press, you do a dumbbell press.
Yeah. You can also do, instead of a goblet squat, you use a dumbbell and do a squat. And you can start considering even some one-legged movements that you maybe don't normally do, but with lighter weight. The other thing that I've been using lately because of my injured knee is blood flow restriction bands.
Yep.
So the idea is that, if it's your if you want to focus on your lower body, then just right where your thighs meet your hips, you tie it on there really tight. So you're essentially restricting the blood flow. And it means that your muscles aren't getting a new cycle of blood and oxygen. So it gives you the same kind of training effect as if you were going heavy, but
With
you're
much
not
lighter weights.
with much lighter weight. And so what you're getting 80% of the training effect,
No, you're getting like 90,
is it?
but
You need a higher volume,
higher reps.
right?
Yeah.
Of reps.
Yeah.
And so,
But you're only using about 20% of the weight.
yeah. And so I've been using that lately on the leg press machine here. This is back home at the gym. And I tell you, I've been feeling sore muscles from lighter weights and just
with like
more volume.
the leg press with either nothing or just like 25 pounds on.
Yeah. And doing 30 reps.
Yeah.
3 sets of those. And I'm sore.
Yeah.
the
And then you
next
do the
few
same
days.
thing with leg curls.
Leg curls, leg extensions. I was even using it on the sled push and pull.
Yeah.
Right. So not calf raises.
Yeah. You did when you did seated calf raises, or did you take them off for that?
I don't think I did.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that's really effective. That's a nice little light
and-
thing to pack and can, especially when you're used to heavier weights and you don't have access to them, but you can still use them and get quite a bit out of it.
Yeah. Because the simple protocol is do first set, like pick a light weight, do 30 reps. And what you want to do is like the ways that make it harder. So lower, slow.
Right.
When you come up, don't go all the way. Say if you're doing a squat, don't come all the way so you're resting on your bones. As soon as you come up, immediately start going down again. Keep the tension on the muscles. And, you don't bounce. You don't go quick. It's like smooth, up and down, and it sucks. It'll
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah.
But
the burn's what you want.
yeah, because they're basically big elasticized bands you cinch around like the top of your thighs, and we've got the arm ones as well. Gives you the nastiest pump, like you look great. It's like
You
all
and your pumps.
all the veins sticking out. But the great thing you run into with it is it was invented for athletes to be able to train when they're injured, right? Because now you don't need as heavy of a weight to still make progress.
Right.
So that when they're recovering from an injury, they're not seeing a huge decrease in performance, right? And you're running into the thing, you've got an injured knee. Now, yours isn't going to get better on its own. But if we can get a really good training stimulus with way less load on the joint,
Oh, for sure.
then
Why not?
yeah.
Yeah, because what was happening is when I was trying heavier weights, I just couldn't do it with my right leg.
Yeah.
So, and it was causing an imbalance. And so,
Yeah, and the interesting thing is you were strong enough to move it. The joint just didn't like locking out.
yeah. Well, it's when you unlock.
Yeah.
It's those few degrees of unlocking and locking just before.
Yeah.
Probably the last 10 degrees, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been really cool, actually. And I like, essentially you're doing your squats, you're doing your other one-legged, lunges. What else are you doing? Hip hinge could be easily, pick up a dumbbell.
Yeah, if there's a bench doing like a hip thrust.
Yeah, that's true.
Or were you thinking about doing like a Romanian deadlift for a hip hinge?
Yeah, I was thinking Romanian deadlift, or
okay.
even with one-legged
One-legged yeah.
as well. Morning glory, I think they call it that as well. Yeah, but even with a bench, getting down and doing hip thrusts are awesome.
And if you don't have a lot of weight and you don't want to go to the trouble of like loading a barbell and getting a pad and all that stuff, basically just take a dumbbell, but just do them one leg at a time. Right? So you're doing your hip thrust, but because you're putting the dumbbell on your hips, you don't need as much weight if you're doing one leg at a time.
Oh, yeah, or one-legged, right?
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
So that really amps it up. And then for upper body, you want to push and a pull.
Yeah.
So,
like if you did an
that's-
overhead press and a pull down or
Yeah.
a pull up.
and they generally have a lot of those pull down units. What do they call them?
Like a cable machine.
Cable machines, right? Often you'll see that. But if they don't,
you could do a dumbbell row. That's a pull. So there's variations. Whether you do a dumbbell row, a cable row, a machine row,
yeah,
pull down, pull ups.
Yeah.
Negative, like if you're not strong enough to do pull ups, do negatives where you step up and just slowly lower. Take 5 seconds to lower.
Yeah.
Right, and each one is just basically you do like 5 reps, super slow lower.
Yeah.
You'll feel that the next day. You do a few sets of that.
Or just hang there. That's another good one. For more than 30 seconds if you get past that. Push-ups are great.
Yeah.
What are some other good pushing ones?
Well, basically any kind of horizontal pressing, like an incline dumbbell bench press, a Smith machine press, any of the machine presses, dips.
Yeah.
Any overhead pressing, whether it's a dumbbell, barbell, Smith machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those are great.
So push, pull, hip hinge, squat.
And loaded carry.
A loaded carry. So take something to walk around.
Yeah.
If you really want to get creative, you probably have stairs where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
You could even go up and down stairs with weight.
Yeah.
So there's some great tips, and best to start off in the morning is my take.
Yeah. It energizes you.
It does. It wakes you up. Starts, you start your day on the right foot. Otherwise, by the end of the day, you might be too tired. And you might want to go check out the city and where you're at. And if you're on vacation, you don't want to think about that, right?
No, it's like, for me, it's always one of these things like, and it's just a weird psychological thing that when we're on vacation, if I hit the gym first thing in the morning, boom, like I can enjoy the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Right? If the rest of our day is going to be floating around a pool, drinking, margaritas.
You're not thinking about you got to go to the gym. Yeah.
But also like I and this is just a me thing. I also give myself now, I've put the work in so I can enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I've earned
permission.
I've earned the right to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I find that makes a big difference for me to enjoy the relaxation part of it.
That's true. Otherwise, it's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah. I didn't earn it.
Yeah.
So that probably is just a me thing, not an everybody thing.
Sure. But I think ultimately when you go to the gym, if your time is limited, whatever, you had a late night, put in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Half hour, just do something.
Yeah, like
something is better than nothing.
If you pick up so here's one of the cool things. Sets between 5 reps and 30 reps, as long as they're taken close to muscular failure, which is the point where you can't do another rep, have equal muscle building effect. And so one of the things, if you're pushed for time, pick up a lightweight and just start repping it out, right? Not sloppy, good, clean reps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing something that's going to be 25 reps before you're, it's really hard, well, that first 20 reps is a warm-up, right? Like if I'm doing a set of 5, I got to do a bunch of warm-up sets to get there, to work the weight up, because it's a pretty heavy weight if I'm only doing 5 reps, right? But if I'm doing, 25 to 30 reps in a set, I don't really need to warm up for that set, because the first half of the set is a warm-up, right? Because it's not that heavy of a weight, right? And then, you go until you can't go no more, or you're pretty close anyway. Yeah. And if it's an exercise that you're not going to get hurt pushing to failure, like think about a bicep curl. If you get to the point you can't get it all the way up, you're not going to get hurt, right? But squat, when there's a barbell on your shoulders, getting stuck because you can't get another one, you potentially could get hurt. A bench press with nobody spotting you, like with a barbell, and it's stuck on your chest, you could be having a bad day, right?
Yeah.
So be, I'll say responsible with which exercises you choose to push to failure. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's a good idea occasionally so you know what it feels like.
Yeah, yeah. And you can also add fatigue into your workouts and work more efficiently is if you do supersets.
Yep.
And what I mean by adding fatigue is if you're going from a lower body exercise to an upper body, your body's tired.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be like, where if you came in fresh and did an upper body exercise, it would take you a while until you get tired.
Yeah.
So it kind of quickens up the pace.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're pressed for time, I do find supersetting is a great way. It cuts your time in half.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting to rest.
Yeah. It's
before you do
basically
your next upper
you
body.
basically take just enough to catch your breath a little bit.
Yeah.
And then rather than waiting for the muscles to rest, you do another exercise, like push and pull. Like if you were to superset, you're pushing and pulling.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to superset lower and upper,
Yeah.
right? So do a set of squats, then do a set of overhead presses.
Yeah, I've always liked that.
And when you and I are training together, then it's the other person's going,
Right.
right? So it is still pretty efficient. You go, I go. You go, I go. But the superset thing, if I'm training by myself, if I could do it all the time,
Yeah.
like I've knocked an entire upper body workout that was like a solid upper body workout. 8 sets of pulling, 8 sets of pushing, for like chest and shoulders and upper back. Lateral raises, bicep curls, and tricep extensions. I got that all done in 25 minutes. Because it was just one machine to the next, back, forth,
Exactly.
back, forth, back,
Yeah.
forth, back, forth, back, forth.
So that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
To get it out and knock it out.
Yeah, and it ends up being a half decent little cardio workout too.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
not sitting around. You're just go, go, go.
And if you get a chance, if where you're staying has a sauna,
Yeah.
make use of it,
Yeah,
especially
go to the
after
sauna
a
after.
workout, because your heart rate's already been elevated, so it's that much easier to burn more calories.
Yeah.
So it's almost as good because sometimes your heart rate goes up to a low cardio workout.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
you're just sitting in the sauna.
you're just sitting in the sauna, relaxing, sweating it out. So that's an awesome bonus if your hotel has that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you'll run into the thing as well, like in time, once you're sort of more comfortable working out, then when you got to you can be super, super efficient, right? Like think about what one of the techniques we use regularly, which is myo rep match.
Yeah.
So basically your first set of an exercise is you just pick up that weight, whatever that weight is, and take that set close to failure. And let's say it's 17 reps, right, is what you get. We're doing like an overhead press. Well, then with the same weight, you're going to do 2 more sets. But the next 2 sets are going to be myo reps. So the way that's going to work is you're going to hit 17 reps again, but you're now fatigued. So you're probably not going to be able to hit 17 in a go.
Right.
So you do maybe 12. Then you put the weight down, shake it out. Then you do 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 more. And then maybe 1 more. And then maybe 1 more.
Yeah.
Until you get your 17. And each of those sets is taking you close to failure. And we know from a muscle growth standpoint, taking sets close to failure is a really strong trigger for muscle growth. Well, your first set, you have one occurrence of getting close to failure because you did your 17 reps. Your second set, you came close to failure when you hit 12. Then you came close to failure when you hit another 3. Then you came close to failure when you hit another 2. So that set alone got you close to failure 3 times. And then the third set's probably going to be 3 or 4 times again. So 3 sets now has got you close to failure 8 times. So you're getting that little switch, the little stimulus switch flicked 8 times instead of 3.
Yeah.
So you get so much out of it.
So much bigger bang for your buck.
Yeah. And it's still just 3 sets. But there are 3 sets that, are much more effective.
Yeah.
And that approach allows you to, again, increase the volume you're doing without doing so many more sets that it's time consuming. You know, so that's another really good time efficient technique.
Yeah.
You know, because one of the things too, it's like if you're traveling, if you've got like the blood flow restriction bands for arms and legs, and some type of like suspension trainer, like a TRX that you can put in a hotel door. Well, now you got push-ups and body rows, and you know, basically super slow squats and lunges. You're gonna have a pretty badass workout.
Yeah.
You know, and if you were to sort of alternate upper lower, you know, you'll run into the thing where it's going to be good cardio as well, and you could probably get a really ass kicking full body workout in 20 minutes to half an hour.
Yeah, and if you're looking and your place doesn't have a treadmill, go do the stairs. That's a great, you know, if that's something you enjoy. Put on some music up and down the stairs. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll probably be doing a lot of walking if you're in a city and there's a good transit system. But just going to the diet thing for a little bit, because often when you're on vacations, there's a whole bunch of calories and maybe some alcohol. And but I find in general, especially for work, I like to not eat breakfast. I like to just have a coffee, or we were talking about today, you know, adding some protein to your coffee. Like, in other words, do a shake.
Yeah.
Right. And, because we're talking about, you know, you could have eggs, but say you have 3 eggs, that's 6 grams of protein each.
Yeah. So 18 grams of protein, but 300 calories.
Right.
Whereas
300 calories in protein, it's about that for 2 scoops, and you're getting 50 grams.
Yeah, 50 to 60.
Yeah.
You know,
so big difference, and it's way more beneficial.
Yeah, because like most mornings, because we got the coffee machine here. Obviously, the hotel's got its own little coffee machine, and this is where you'd actually have to travel with your like little rechargeable blender thing, or have a shaker cup,
or just shake the cup. I mean,
You know.
I take my powder with me for times when I'm feeling like I'm not going to have a proper meal that day. I'll just take some extra protein.
Because what I'll do is like with my Yeti mug, I've got like the 30 ounce. It's like my universal mug because that's what I'm drinking water out of right now too.
Yeah.
But I will do 8 ounces of coffee in it, and then I've got the little Ninja blender. I'll do 2 scoops of protein and some water, and basically you run into the thing when you've run a cycle of that, mixed it, it's super frothy. And we use the chocolate protein powder that tastes good. So I dump it in my coffee. Then I'll put the my coffee cup, you know, back in the coffee machine, and then I'll run another cycle of coffee in, just to top it up.
Okay.
And then I give it a good mix, and it's like some fancy Starbucks mochaccino frappe thing. You know, because it's like creamy and chocolatey coffee.
I should do that. Yeah, I've only been doing it with essentially 1 cup of coffee, or it comes out in 2 cups. Mix that with my protein powder, and it's very light. I don't like that. So I should add in more coffee.
Because I made the mistake once of putting coffee in with the protein powder in the blender.
Yeah, it explodes.
Yes. Because, you know, when you hit the button to release it, it's like you've sprayed like coffee protein all over the wall.
Yeah.
So now I just do them 2 separately, and
got it. And then
it's flawless.
blend them together.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
You know, and that right there is like, you know, caffeine and protein.
Yeah, and it is, and it's also a great start to the day of getting in some protein when you might struggle with it. And
if we do 2 scoops, like that's like, you know, 50 to 70 grams of protein, depending on which scoop you use.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's my main thing, and just drinking lots of water when you're out and about. Try not to drink so much coffee because that can really dehydrate you. I've actually found greater success having more water than coffee.
Yeah.
For weight loss and just feeling full. So,
coffee's the morning.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like
but
sort of get you going.
It becomes like a ritual wherever you go. You want some coffee? You want some coffee? Sit down, have a coffee. People are getting better with it now. They're like, want some water?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, just think, if you were back in the old-timey 1960s-ish business times,
right.
you'd be
martinis.
you'd be having martinis and scotch. I saw some of that Mad Men TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And cigars.
Yeah.
And cigarettes. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that gives you a few tips that you weren't thinking of.
Yeah, that you can put into effect.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody who wants to go more in depth, and would like me to lay out all of your things and just tell you exactly what to do, what to eat, how to exercise.
Yeah.
Just go to our website, livewildradio.com. You can click the button that's on the front page about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a number of different programs, from like complete remote coaching. If you're in our area, we do in person as well.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of a hybrid where it's like maybe a session a week in person and then do everything online or like in the app that we tell you to. Because the thing comes in is like, what I aim to do is make it so you can succeed. Right? Because if you think of it, like, obviously, if we refer to you as a client, because you've trained more with me than anybody else has.
It's true.
Basically, are you stronger?
Oh, yeah.
Is it easy to follow?
For sure.
Do we get any weird woo-woo stuff in there?
No.
It's just like...
Yeah, minimum dose.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
I'm in and I'm out.
Yeah.
And I want to hang out at the gym. So I like that.
We could make friends at the gym, sweetie. You always want to say we need more social life.
Everybody's in their zone.
Yeah, but the lady talked to you yesterday.
It was weird. She's a little too happy. That was today. I was a little too happy at that time in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not very friendly at the gym. So I usually roll out of bed and I look like a mess and I don't care.
No. You're there to toss some iron around.
Yeah. So
I'm saying.
I'm grumpy.
Yeah. It's like you don't even want to be there.
No, it's going to be work. So
Yeah.
I'm getting into the zone,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But that's the key though. It's like, and this is one of the cool things you run into. It's like if you do it long enough and you just apply the principles, right?
Yeah.
Enough frequency, enough volume, enough effort,
Yeah.
consistently over time.
That's the key is
You're-
consistency.
And you're progressively overloading.
Yeah.
This week you got an extra rep in. A couple weeks from now you had 5 pounds.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty pleased with the progress with the leg press, despite, the injury, the issue.
Well, that's the thing that I really like is like we had a problem, right? Like you just doing my workout wasn't working for you.
Right. What was happening is I was compensating with one leg for the other.
Yeah.
So I wasn't loading correctly on both sides. And you don't want to be doing that with heavy weights.
No.
And,
So then it's like, okay, well, we changed your foot stance.
Yeah. So on the leg press, rather than having your feet further up on the press where it's more targeting your glutes, essentially, that's what it was doing. We have it at the bottom of the plate.
So far down that her heels aren't even on it.
That's right.
It's like she's setting up for doing calf raises.
Yeah, and it totally, completely torches your quads.
Yeah,
And
you're still working your glutes.
and even with very little weight,
yeah,
with the blood flow restriction bands, it's amazing. Like I've never felt that kind of muscle soreness
yeah, and the pump
as I do now.
Yeah,
So I like that because I wasn't getting that kind of a workout before.
yeah, because it was more just you felt it more in your knees than your muscles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's the thing where we adjust.
You can always adjust. It's just trying different things.
And that's sort of the cool thing that we run into is like, I've got my little bag with me all the time when we're in the gym.
Your tickle trunk.
Yeah. It's like, do we need grips?
Yeah.
Do we need, fat grips? Do we need bands? Do we need this? Do we need that?
Yeah.
So it's that, having just the little things that make the workouts better.
Yeah.
And it's basically anytime you're presented with a challenge, like a problem, it's like, okay, we redid your feet on the leg press. We're not doing squats because the locking out at the top.
That's true. It's actually harder now because it's tension all the time.
Yeah.
And whereas before it's just way harder because before I was always taking a break once I locked it.
Yeah.
And I reset and do it again. Whereas now it's just constant tension. So I've definitely built some strength there.
Yeah. And it was just the thing. It's like you were finding that barbell squats were hurting your neck. When the bar's loaded, your neck, your spine, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we'll adjust.
Yeah.
And that thing where there's so many options of things to do. If one thing doesn't work for you, well, then there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
Right. If flat barbell bench press hurts your shoulder, well, do dumbbells.
Yeah.
Do different machines. Use, we just want to hit the muscles adequately that they're going to get stronger and get bigger.
Yeah.
Because we want the bigger part because that's the glucose sink for your body. Like, if everybody who has metabolic issues like type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, all those things, if their muscles were bigger than they are now, almost all those problems would disappear.
Right, because your body absorbs it all.
Yeah, because the bigger your muscles are, the more glucose storage you got.
Right.
Right? High blood sugar is because it's got nowhere to put it.
Okay.
You don't see a lot of jacked people with high blood sugar problems.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why, my anti-aging formula, right, is
bigger muscles.
Strength and bigger muscles, because obviously you need the strength to be able to do stuff.
Of course.
And then you need the bigger muscles to fight off the metabolic issues. And then you need the cardiovascular fitness so your heart don't explode.
Yeah.
Right? And so having a little bit of each.
Right.
You run into the thing where you do that for years, and then you also happen to look better in your bathing suit.
Right.
And you don't get tired as easy because you got energy. You got cardio.
Yeah.
Right? It's not one or the other. You don't have to be ready to do a marathon. But it's just sort of having that regular fitness where you're like, life's easy. Right? That's what everybody wants.
Right.
Right? So,
for sure.
And that's why, so for a lot of the cardio, for people who are time crunched, that's why I like 10 to 20 minute kettlebell swing EMOMs. 15 swings a minute for 10 to 20 minutes. Right? Do 15 swings, put it down, walk around, shake it out.
Yeah.
Every time the timer beeps,
do
another 15 reps. It's like a 4-to-1, work to rest ratio, or actually 3-to-1. But you run into the deal where your heart rate gets up. You're training the fast twitch muscles in the butt and hamstrings and lower back and everything. And it takes up the same amount of space on the floor as it would take for you to do push-ups. It doesn't take a lot of space.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? The only downside to it is monotony. Right? Just doing swing.
Yeah.
It can be boring.
Yeah.
But really low impact, easy on the joints. It's almost like an anti-aging fitness thing. But you build that capacity and you're like, oh man, I feel great. I got.
Yeah, but the machines were really good for targeting different muscles.
Yes.
Certainly, for us and for me, I was able to build my glute muscles.
Yeah.
At least they're stronger. Definitely my quads, my hamstrings.
Yeah.
And then the sled, right? So doing that and I see the progress. I compare myself with other people.
Yeah.
So I can see, I may not feel like it's a lot, but then when I see what other people do, I'm like, oh, that's more than them. So I feel better.
I'm a bad bitch.
I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the work.
Yeah.
But so it's something.
Yeah. And that's a key. Basically, the theme of this one obviously is how to keep your progress going when you're on business trips or on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that kind of fundamental thing. It's like part of it is you got to make yourself a priority.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's what I decided when I realized I need to have a gym that has a bike that's helpful for my knee. Drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the strength training goes along with that. So there you go.
Yeah. So thank you for any of our listeners who, you know, had been wondering, you know, if you're back listening to this episode. Thank you for sticking it out with us. We'll be much more regular from now on again. And as we said, anybody wants any more coaching information, personal training information, go to livewildradio.com and click on the coaching link. And it will give you lots of information. You can reach out. I don't charge anything to have a chat with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that might get you sort of started on a path. You know, because our whole thing is, yes, it's a business and all that jazz. But fundamentally, we want to make people's lives better.
Yep.
Because we know what it's like. Be better shape. Like, I'm old and gray, right? You know, and I can still do shit.
Yeah.
Everybody should feel this way.
Yeah. That's
right?
true.
You know.
Yeah. You do scare people a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially when you're at the gym and you're like giving her, you look like you're going to kill somebody.
Yeah, well, you know, I have resting murderer face. and when we're training, I ain't resting, so it's even worse.
That's right.
So, yeah. But thanks, and do you remember how we sign off?
Work hard.
Play dirty.